Thank you, Father Whitlock, Father Becker, Reverend Fathers, any honored guests, and my dear brothers. 4 years ago, when I applied to the seminary, on our application for the Diocese of New Ulm, they asked us who the most influential priest in our life was. And I knew two things. One, I'm related to two priests in the Diocese of New Ulm, Father Craig Timmerman and Father Paul Timmerman, and both of them have been extremely influential in my life and have changed the person who I am for the better. The second thing I knew was that Father Craig Timmerman is on the vocations team, and so he's definitely going to read my application. And so I took a stand, and I chose Father Timmerman as my most influential priest. And I provided a general description that fit them both. But tonight it's my honor to affirm my priest hero, Father Craig Timmerman. Father Craig Timmerman lived 7 miles away from me, so I knew him a lot growing up. He would often show up at family events, and in the 3rd grade, he served as a deacon in our parish, Holy Redeemer. That year, he came to the school a lot. He would preach masses for us, and he would come and visit the classrooms and talk to the students. Halfway through the year, my 3rd grade teacher asked the class what they wanted to be when they grew up, and over half the guys in the class said that they wanted to be deacons. But I would like to affirm Father Craig for 3 qualities that I see in him. The first quality in Father Craig is that he's a father. You can talk to kids in Teen Talk, talk to his parishioners, talk to Josh or Tanner. They all say the same thing. If you need advice, if you need guidance, if you need spiritual direction, Father Craig is there for you. Personally, he's been there for me many times when I needed it. In April of my senior year, it was like April 20th, and I thought maybe I should check out the seminary. And so I called Father Craig. He was the Associate Vocations Director, and later that week we went and visited the seminary. Even though we went up on, not Holy Thursday, we went up on the Chrism Mass, so he had Holy Week the next week. He was really busy, but he took that time to bring me to the seminary. And the whole visit, I was really struggling with kind of a weight on myself because I felt like I really need to be here, I really need to go to seminary, but I also was struggling with kind of feeling inadequate, feeling like there's no way I can do this. All the guys here are way better than I am. And so we're driving home, and I'm struggling with this the whole car ride back. And finally, we get to Marshall, and basically I just kind of broke down. I was crying, snotty, blubbery, and so Father Craig pulls into the Perkins parking lot, and I'm able to share with him all these things that I'm struggling with. And he listened, and afterwards he's like, Troy, this doesn't rule out seminary for you, for one thing. And that conversation I had with him, without that, I probably wouldn't be here today. A second quality in Father Craig is he doesn't see things as man sees things. He sees things as God sees things. Another time I was in the car with Father Craig. We were coming back from the final vows of Sister Magdalena and Sister Regina Marie of the Handmaids at the Heart of Jesus. And I was sharing with him a lot of my struggles from the last semester in seminary and a lot of struggles I had, like different fears I had about being in the Diocese of New Ulm, fears about like the priest shortage and that sort of thing. And I finished sharing with him, and the first thing he says was that I need to pray about whether I'm in seminary because I'm pressuring myself or whether I've actually received a vocation or calling from God. And my thought was, what the heck, Father Craig? I'm here, I'm trying to be a priest. Look around, there's a huge priest shortage. The people need priests. The priests can't do it on their own. You guys need help. What about the diocese? But of course, Father Craig knew that better than anyone else. He had 4 parishes at the time: Ghent, Minneota, St. Leo, and Canby, and then Taunton. Yeah, they just closed their parish. So he knew that. He felt the pinch. He knew that there was a bigger workload on him than he could possibly do. But he also knew that God knew that, and he knew that God had a plan for him, God had a plan for the people of the diocese, and that God was calling guys to be a priest. He trusted in God. And so the only logical thing for him to recommend to me was to seek God's will and to follow it. The last quality that I want to affirm Father Craig for is that he runs to the Father. During Holy Week, I got to visit him, and he shared with me just that he felt that he needed to spend more time in prayer during Holy Week. Even though he took all day Monday and spent it in prayer and reflection, he just saying, like, throughout the day, whenever I have time, I need to stop in the chapel. I need to stop worrying about how the ceremonies are going to go and just spend time praying. And so on Friday, I went to go to the Stations of the Cross with the sisters in Ghent, which turns into like a 3-hour Stations of the Cross. And I think he had 2 other station ceremonies that day, but he stayed and went through the whole thing. And I know throughout that week, he also spent time in prayer. But he lives from his identity as a son. He lives in his relationship with God the Father, and that's what animates his priesthood. And one heroic example of Father Craig running to the Father is in 2005 when he was studying in Rome. His brother Jason Timmerman was killed in Iraq by a roadside bomb when he was evacuating a wounded soldier. So Father Craig was alone in Rome, a continent away from his entire family. But what did he do? He ran into the chapel. He spent all night in prayer. And he still just runs to the chapel. He knows that when he is suffering, when he is going through struggles, that he needs to relate those to God the Father. And so these are 3 examples of how Father Craig Timmerman has conformed himself to Jesus Christ and how he lives out the priesthood of Jesus Christ. So thank God for Father Craig Timmerman, and praise be Jesus Christ.